Hey everyone, welcome back. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here for today's explainer. We've got a fantastic, totally packed rundown for you today, and the through line connecting all of these stories is one sweeping theme: shifting power dynamics. Because whether we're looking at the battlefield, the ballot box, the soccer pitch, or the global economy, the ground is literally moving beneath our feet right now. We've synthesized all the critical data and reporting so we can get right to the core of what's happening globally. Let's get started.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our agenda. First, Middle East peace under fire. Second, a UK political earthquake. Third, some World Cup group stage drama. Fourth, the microchip Cold War. And finally, a $1 trillion climate bill.
Starting off with Section 1, Middle East peace under fire. So, we begin today with a deeply complex and rapidly developing situation. We're looking at a monumental, yet incredibly fragile framework agreement between the US and Iran. Now, this framework really began taking shape when President Trump signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at halting a 3.5-month war. As part of this huge diplomatic push, the United States actually lifted its naval blockade on Iranian ports. And to give you a sense of the immense scale we're talking about here, there's a proposed $300 billion reconstruction fund backed by Gulf Arab nations currently on the table. It is for sure a historic geopolitical maneuver.
But you know, that momentum, it came to a very sudden halt. Look at this rapid sequence of events. After 3.5 months of conflict, day one saw the MOU signed. But then, overnight, a severe military escalation erupted. Israeli airstrikes targeted 80 Hezbollah-linked sites in southern Lebanon, killing 18 people. And Hezbollah immediately retaliated with its deadliest attack of the war so far, killing 4 Israeli soldiers near Nabatea. Following this, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to exact a heavy price. The direct fallout from this? Planned face-to-face talks in Switzerland involving US Vice President J.D. Vance were abruptly postponed. So that initial 60-day diplomatic window established by the agreement is absolutely facing its most severe test right now.
Moving on to Section 2, UK political earthquake.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this phrase right here, King of the North. We're pivoting from international diplomacy to domestic shifts because an absolute political earthquake is currently shaking Downing Street. That nickname belongs to Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham. And Burnham just pulled off a massive, decisive political victory. In a highly consequential by-election up in Mickerfield, Burnham utterly crushed his anti-immigration reform UK rival, Robert Kenyon. And guys, this wasn't just some local win. It was a strategic masterstroke that has completely shifted the political chessboard in the UK.
To really understand why this matters, we have to look at the immediate impact on the current government. On one side, you have the current Labour leader and Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, who is facing some seriously cratering national popularity. On the other side, you've got Andy Burnham. By winning that seat in Makerfield, Burnham has officially returned to the House of Commons. And that is the exact legal catalyst required for him to trigger a direct leadership challenge. Burnham is now perfectly positioned to make a run for the prime ministership right from within his own party.
Let's switch gears a bit for Section 3, World Cup group stage drama.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer massive scale of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Spanning all across North America, the group stage is officially in full swing, and the pressure of the knockout stakes is firmly setting in. Teams are fighting for their survival on the global stage, and let me tell you, the co-hosts are already making some huge headlines.
Let's run down these latest critical results real quick. Co-host Mexico booked their ticket to the next round with an incredibly tense 1-0 victory over South Korea. They pulled it off in front of a roaring crowd in Guadalajara, courtesy of a clutch 50th-minute strike by Luis Romo. Meanwhile, fellow co-host Canada took a totally different approach. They absolutely dismantled Qatar in a stunning 6-0 blowout victory up in Vancouver. We also saw Switzerland put on a really dominant performance, taking down Bosnia and Herzegovina 4-1. The momentum of this tournament is just continuing to build. Up next, we have an absolute must-watch battle in Seattle as the US men's national team faces off against Australia. Plus, we'll be keeping a very close eye on the highly anticipated Brazil versus Haiti and Morocco versus Scotland matchups. The energy right now is just electric.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 4, the microchip Cold War.
Transitioning back to global tensions, but this time the battlefield isn't a map, it's the tech sector. We are tracking a really aggressive confrontation surrounding semiconductor technology. On one side, we have the Trump administration, specifically driven by U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. On the other side is the Dutch semiconductor giant ASML. Secretary Lutnick recently held high-level meetings with ASML executives, and it has brought long-simmering national security concerns right to the boiling point.
To understand this clash, you really have to know what's actually at stake here. The whole fight is over EUV lithography, or extreme ultraviolet chip-making tools. Now, these are not your standard tech components. We are talking about highly restricted, phenomenally complex machines that are absolutely critical for developing cutting-edge artificial intelligence and advanced military capabilities. They are quite literally the apex of modern manufacturing.
And here is where the narratives sharply clash. The U.S. Commerce Department is raising some very loud alarms, suspecting that these restricted, top-of-the-line EUV tools might have been illegally funneled into China, totally bypassing strict export controls. ASML, however, has forcefully pushed back. They categorically deny the allegations, stating on the record that they have never shipped a single EUV machine to China. But despite ASML's firm denial, Washington is keeping the geopolitical pressure turned all the way up.
Finally, Section 5, $1 trillion climate bill. Okay, let's pivot to our last story of the day. A groundbreaking environmental study has just dropped, and it distills an incredibly complex global issue into one single, shocking economic reality. So the crucial point is this staggering number right here, $5.7 trillion. That's a trillion with a T. That is the estimated cost of environmental degradation occurring every single year, according to this new research. But you know what? It's not just the sheer size of the number that's turning heads. It's specifically who the study points the finger at. When we actually look at the physical impact on the Earth, this research reveals a highly concentrated source. This isn't a problem spread evenly across the globe. The data shows that this immense $5.7 trillion in annual damage is single-handedly caused by the world's wealthiest citizens, specifically the top 10% of global consumers.
Let's break down that demographic a bit more. This study highlights that the vast majority of these high-impact top 10% consumers, they reside primarily right here in the United States, with a significant portion also over in the European Union. As you can imagine, bringing this hard data to the forefront is already sparking some fierce new international debates over who actually bears the cost, and more importantly, who should be held accountable for financing future climate action.
Which leads us to the big question we want to leave you with today. How should consumer accountability actually shape global climate action moving forward? When the data clearly points to specific economic brackets, how does that change the policies we create? It's an urgent question with some truly profound implications for all of us. Thank you so much for joining me for this rundown today, Focus Learners.